Hi friends, so good to see everybody. Today in science, we are going to use some scientific knowledge to make a delicious, tasty treat. Yes, you guessed it. Today we are going to use science to actually make some ice cream. Wow, that's going to be so much fun. Now, it involves a little bit of work on your part, so you have to be nice and strong. Everybody get their muscles ready, and I'll show you what we'll need. In order to make ice cream, let's think about the word ice cream. What's the first thing you think you need? I'll give you a hint. Brr, it's kind of cold. You guessed it. Yes, ice. In order to do today's project, make sure your freezer has enough ice in it. Enough ice probably to fill like a large Ziploc bag, okay? That's the first part of the word ice cream. Cream is the second part. Oh, we need cream. What's cream? Cream is a type of a milk product. When a cow is being milked, cream is the thick, heavy part of the milk that's on top. For our recipe today, we can use half and half. If you don't have half and half, if you have a light version of half and half, that's fine. If you want to use milk, that's fine too. But you're going to need some cream to really get your ice cream to be thick and creamy. But that's actually a really fun thing to do is try this recipe and see what you need in order to make ice cream depending on what milk product you have. Does it work well with almond milk or oat milk or coconut milk? You might have to change some amounts of some of the ingredients and do a little research on the internet, but I'm sure that this would work based on whatever dairy product or non-dairy product you have in your home. But the official recipe calls for some half and half, okay? And then we like our ice cream to be a little bit sweet, don't we? What do you think we're going to put in to make it sweet? Any guesses? You guessed it. We do need some sugar to make it sweet. The good news is we don't use a lot of sugar for this recipe, which is pretty cool. I won't say it's healthy, but it definitely is healthier than ice cream that you would buy at the supermarket. And we like our ice cream to have flavors, right? So today the simplest flavor that we could work with would be vanilla. So I have some vanilla extract that we're going to use, but again, you're the scientist. Try some experimenting. Do you have a different kind of flavor or extract in your home you might like to try? Do you want to add something to your ice cream, like chocolate chips perhaps? It will change how you create it, but it would be so neat to do the research and find out. All right, I'm going to get us started measuring our ingredients. Okay, time to get our ingredients together. You're going to need to have 2 strong Ziploc bags. One we're going to put our ingredients in, and then, or we could even do this first, we're going to put that inside another one just to protect our ingredients and keep them safe during our experiment, okay? So I'm going to take my half and half, and I'm going to use about 2 cups of half and half. So I'm going to pour 1 cup now. And pour that into my bag. Now, once you start adding things to your bag, remember not to let it tip over, okay? And the second cup. Who would have thought we could make ice cream in a bag? How fun. Now, of course, if you have an ice cream maker at home, what a great tool to be making ice cream using an official ice cream maker. You can try that too. You could see which is faster, using your ice cream maker or using the bag method. You can compare and contrast how the ice cream turns out if you have another way of making it at home. All right, so I'll put my half and half away. Now I'm going to add my vanilla extract. I'm going to use 1.5 teaspoons of that. So here's 1 teaspoon. Here we go. And then let me get my half a teaspoon. Here we go. All right. Oh my goodness, only 1 ingredient left. Isn't that neat? You can tell that recipes are healthy when they don't call for a lot of ingredients. It means they're just made of a few things that are nice and pure. So we're on to our third ingredient, which is our sugar. We need 1/3 cup of sugar. I know, looking at it seems like a lot. And then we need just 2 more tablespoons of sugar. Gotta find it. Sorry, I do not have a tablespoon on this measuring spoon ring. Hold on, be right back with that tablespoon. Hi. Sorry, I couldn't find a tablespoon, but I found 1/2 of a tablespoon. So I need 2 whole tablespoons altogether. So 1/2 of one, then the other 1/2, that makes 1 whole. And then one more time, 1/2 of one, and another 1/2, up to 2 whole tablespoons of sugar. So that was 1/3 cup of sugar plus 2 tablespoons and 2 cups of the 1/2 and 1/2, and then 1.5 teaspoons of our vanilla extract. So that was the whole recipe. That's it. Now, what I like to do immediately is to seal my bags. Now, there is one other ingredient that is taking up some room in this bag. What's making the bag puff out so much? What's all around us? That's right, air. We don't want too much air in our ice cream, so try to smooth out the extra air in your bag. Let it escape, and then very tightly seal up your bag. So I sealed up my inner layer of the bag. I'm going to tuck that down and then get the air out of the outer layer of the bag and seal that up. Okay, so sorry about all those dogs barking. I have 2 little puppies and they got a little wild on me. We have all of our ingredients now mixed into the bag. And when I feel the bottom of the bag, I do feel the sugar, the little granules of the sugar, and I like to just sort of mix that up a little bit. So I just use my fingers to massage it a little bit. It's okay if you don't do it for too long, but it just kind of mixes the sugar throughout our liquid. Remember, our 1/2 and 1/2 is liquid, and our vanilla is liquid, and then our sugar is a solid, and we're trying to get that sugar to dissolve into our liquids. All right, well, we've got the cream part, but we're missing the ice. Let me go into my freezer to make that happen. Did you hear that big crash? That was a lot of ice falling out of my freezer. All right, I've got a great big bag of ice, and brr, is it cold? Wow. But you know what? I can still hold it with my hands. Now, I don't want to hold it for too long because my hands generate a lot of heat. And what will happen if I'm touching the bag of ice? It will melt, right? The problem is this ice is not cold enough. What? Ice is frozen. It's frozen water. Liquid water turned into a frozen state is ice. How can it not be cold enough? Well, it's not cold enough to turn these liquid ingredients into a solid ice cream. So we have to make this ice even colder. How is that possible? Make ice colder? Well, it sure is. We're going to use our ice cream salt. You can buy this at Publix or Harris Teeter. Basically, you're just using, it's like rock salt. It's different than the regular salt that you might see. Let's see if I can hold that up. That you might use when you're cooking. It's got much bigger, chunkier granules, and it's very salty. You do not want to eat it. But if you don't have any ice cream salt, you certainly can just use rock salt would do the same trick. Now, if I add rock salt or ice cream salt into my ice, a really cool chemical reaction is going to happen, and my ice is going to get even colder. so cold that when I need to do the rest of this experiment, I may need to take a towel to hold my bag, or I may even try to find some winter gloves if you've got those handy and put them on, because this is gonna get cold. Now, I don't have a thermometer here at my house, but if you do, you could try putting the thermometer into this bag now and seeing how cold the ice is. It should be about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. There are 2 ways to measure temperature. In the United States, we measure in Fahrenheit degrees. The rest of the world measures in what we call Celsius degrees. So Fahrenheit degrees is 32 degrees is freezing. On the Celsius scale, 0 degrees is freezing. It's a little bit easier to remember. But if you do have a thermometer, you could take the temperature of the bag of ice now, and then when you add the rock salt, you could take the temperature too. You will be able to feel the chemical changes. In this case, the chemistry that's happening is that it's going to get colder. But that's what we need to happen, because we need to turn these liquids into solid ice cream. So you're gonna take your ice and you're gonna make like a little pouch in your big bag of ice. And in that little pouch, I'm taking some ice out, you're going to, in that little area, you're gonna put your pouch of ingredients. You want it to be covered by ice. So I'm making some room in the bag here. And the more ice, the better. If you have more ice, I just don't have a lot of ice at my house right now. But if you have more ice, this will go a lot more quickly. All right, so I've sort of buried my bag of ingredients in here so you can't see it. And then I'm gonna add the ice I took out. I'm gonna add it on top so that my bag is totally covered. Sorry. A few more cubes here. All right. And then I'm going to add my ice cream salt in. Now, there's no actual specific amount that you need to put in. Usually I just pour from the box. You could start with 1 cup and then you could add more if you needed. Sometimes when I do this experiment, I'm doing it in a class of students and time's ticking and I need it to happen more quickly, so I'll add lots of extra salt, but you shouldn't need too much. So I'm adding the salt in and I'm shaking it because I want it to get all the way throughout the bag, right? Shaking it down in there. And right away, you're gonna notice some changes. You're gonna notice that this bag is gonna start to get really, really, really cold. So when you feel like you have enough salt in there, you're gonna seal up the bag. And you now, remember I told you need your muscles? This is what you need your muscles for. You need to be shaking the bag in order to make ice cream, okay? And you'll realize after a while your arms may get tired. So find someone in your family to take a turn doing it with you. And then you'll realize why people buy ice cream machines sometimes. You can also do this experiment in a can. I've seen it done in big tin cans, and then you can roll the can. That's a little bit easier sometimes. So we're gonna need to shake, and sometimes we need to shake for 5 minutes, sometimes for 10 minutes. It really just has to do with how much salt you've put in there, how hot your house is, how hot your hands are. You do not want to be shaking by putting your hot little hands on the bottom of the bag, because that will be working against you. You'll be adding heat. We don't want to be adding heat. You're going to start to feel, oh my gosh, it's so cold. I can't really hold it with my hands. So maybe when you're shaking, you're going to want to have a towel around it to help you, or just hold it from the top of the bag, okay? And sometimes the bag can burst, so it's always good to have an extra bag nearby. Just sometimes the sharp edges of the ice cubes will burst through. So I'm gonna do some shaking. You do not need to see me doing all shaking for 10 minutes. I'm gonna get off the video for a minute and then I'll come back, and hopefully when I get back, we'll talk a little bit more about the science and we'll have some ice cream to eat. See you in a minute. So I've been shaking for about 10 minutes now. A couple things happened. Number 1, my hands are freezing. Please use a towel or some gloves. Number 2, my bag broke, so I made sure I had an extra one handy. This also gets a little messy, so you definitely may want to do it over a sink, okay? That's another little tip. I opened it a few times to check, and it was still kind of soupy. Nothing wrong with soupy ice cream. It's still delicious, but I want to see if we can get it to a really good, solid consistency. Also, sometimes a couple of little pieces of the salt do get into your ice cream bag. And it makes for some salty ice cream, but it's not going to get you sick. And sometimes it's a rather interesting taste. But don't be worried if it tastes a little bit salty. All right, I'm going to give it a couple more shakes and then we'll check. Hello, I'm back with some frozen ice cream. Let me get my spoon and I'm going to reach in here. Look at this. Mmm, delicious vanilla ice cream. Wow. Just made out of a bag with some ice and a few healthy ingredients. Now, time to talk about the science. Why did that happen? Well, remember I said that the freezing temperature of water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. When ice melts, it has to steal heat from something around it. For example, when you add ice cubes to your favorite drink, the ice robs the heat away from the drink and melts, but then it makes the drink cooler, right? But to make our ice cream, the freezing point of the ice has to be lower than 32 degrees in order to rob that creamy mixture of enough heat to turn it from liquid to solid ice cream. By adding the rock salt to the ice and mixing it around, that's what makes the freezing temperature drop even lower, making the ice colder in order to make the ice cream. It's the same idea of when we put ice out on our sidewalks in case we think it's going to snow. That doesn't happen a lot in Charlotte. But where I grew up, we would ice our sidewalks in order to lower the freezing temperature so that if it did snow, anything that would hit the sidewalk would melt and then it wouldn't be slippery. So that's why we would put the salt out on our pavement the night before. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I have some ice cream to eat after dinner for dessert. And I just want to quickly show you how our chrysalids are doing. Not much action. They're all in their little home now. I hope that you can see them here. There they are. So they are hanging as chrysalids attached to their little fabric piece that came with them, and they're not moving. They've been very still. I put a little, I don't think you can see it, but I did put a branch in there so that when they do emerge from their chrysalis, they will, if they want to fly and rest on something, they can rest on that branch. And tomorrow I will be putting some sugar water in so that when they do come out, they will be hungry, and that will be what they will get to first drink in order to give themselves some strength. Hopefully I will be around when they emerge and I can videotape it and show it to you next week or the week after. It should be happening this week, but I don't know if I'll be there to catch it. Hopefully they won't do it while I'm sleeping. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Enjoy your delicious ice cream. Can't wait to hear about it. Feel free to text me at 917-626-4224 or send me an email of you eating that delicious ice cream, marcielevinejacobs@gmail.com. Everybody take care and be well and healthy. I miss you. Bye.